Hi, I'm Greg Bennett, creator of the Greg Bennett Sales Training Program, and I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about one of the fundamental core beliefs that I have about sales. And it's within the fundamentals that I think excellence is born, and where we continue to find success is in focusing on the fundamentals. And I think one of the mistakes we make as salespeople, as sales organizations, is that we believe that, number one, the fundamentals are too basic. And so I think I've already heard all that. Why would I want to think about the basics when the fundamentals aren't necessarily basic, which I'll explain in a moment. Number two, we think we've already got them down. I want some new tricks and ideas and strategies, and all those things are fine. I mean, I like new tricks and strategies too, but the fundamentals are essential, and we have a tendency to get away from them as we go look to find new things. But I am here to tell you that if you will see the fundamentals for what they are, the essential, age-old beliefs and ideas and concepts, and once you dig into them and you realize that, yes, the fundamentals are always there from generation to generation, but they're much deeper than surface. There's something very deep within the DNA of the human being that goes back hundreds of years. And if you'll focus on the fundamentals, I believe you'll find that there are several layers, and you can spend a great deal of time mastering the fundamentals. So I want to spend some time in this little video talking about one of the core fundamentals, and that is partner versus vendor. In fact, I wrote it down for you right here. The partner versus the vendor mindset and what that means. I think the partner versus vendor mindset is the wellspring from where all sales excellence flows and continues to bubble up. And what I mean by partner versus vendor, I think if you think of it, I like to think in analogies if you've ever worked with me before. And I think of a vendor, I think of a vending machine, right? Candy machine, whatever, or a vendor at a baseball game, right? A vendor is a machine or a person that dispenses products and services. Versus a partner, I think of those little heart-shaped necklaces. And I have 4 daughters, so over the years I know all about these heart-shaped necklaces that say best friends. And, they have one half and their friend has the other half. And that's the way that I see sales, is the difference between being a vending machine or a heart-shaped necklace. And as the salesperson, I have one half of that heart, and I need to go find the other half in the client. There's such a huge difference between seeing sales as a vendor and seeing sales as a partner. If you think about the whole definition, just vendor is a seller of goods or services, a vending machine. The thing about a vending machine, if you think about it, and this would apply to salespeople who are vendor type of salespeople, which I would say are probably, unfortunately, 80% of the people out there, that vending machines really don't care if you need that candy bar or those chips. There's no analysis that's done. They don't care how many you buy. They don't care, the machine doesn't care if you can afford it. It doesn't care if you need it. It doesn't care if you, frankly, choke on it and die right in front of the candy machine. It doesn't care, as long as you don't get in the way of somebody else coming up and buying a candy bar. Where a partner is a much different thing. A partner is someone that is engaged in a common activity with someone else. And in sales, of course, that common activity is all about having that client get his or her needs met, while at the same time, and through that, I get my needs met. So our common activity are meeting both of our needs. And that's going to happen as a seller when the client's needs are met. And again, one of the reasons why this is a fundamental, it's been around forever. I think it was Dale Carnegie who said years ago that, the way that I get my needs met is to meet somebody else's needs. Or that age-old saying is that no one cares how much you know till they know how much you care. Those types of things all spring from this vendor-partner mindset. But unfortunately, so many people are vendors. And it's really sad, because vendors, all they can really think about and all they focus on and all they study are the items that they have in their vending machine. They know all about them. They're full of product knowledge. And corporations and organizations cause all this because most of the training that they do is on product knowledge, which has its place. There is a place for product knowledge, but it's not the main thing. The main thing is knowing how to form partnerships and relationships and seeing the other person in the sales engagement as a potential partner. And that means that both of us own our situation before, during, and after the sale, especially after the sale. You know, vendors don't care after the sale. Again, once you buy that candy bar and you rip off the wrapper and you eat it, it doesn't really care. The vending machine has done its job, and it provided you with whatever it is you wanted to buy, and you're off on your way. And the vending machine just sits there and waits for the next customer. Where the partner, when a partner sells something, the way I look at partnership is that we both own your situation, Mr. Client, before, during the sales interaction, and then after. I as much own this thing after you buy it. There isn't a handoff. And in so many businesses, I see this mindset. Once again, brought on by managers and organizations who believe in, just sell more, just, learn your product, learn product knowledge, go out and pitch and pitch and pitch and sell it, get rid of it. We got stuff to move. Let's go on and find the next person. That certainly doesn't bring about a partnership attitude. And I think a lot of people are afraid of being partners because it's harder. It's harder to be a partner. I mean, we both have a stake in the game. It's hard to be a partner. I use another analogy as a doctor and a pharmacist. It's much harder to be a doctor than to be a pharmacist, right? Pharmacists are critical, they're important, but basically pharmacists know how to just, to make sure that the right drugs are going out. But they're not doing a diagnosis or an exam. They're not having the patient or the customer come behind the counter and, to do an exam as to why are you buying this from me? They may ask a few questions, just like sellers ask a few questions, but mainly they're there just to disperse what people feel that they want. Where a doctor has to diagnose and find out what people need. And what people need, what they want, are often two different things. Most people know what they want, but few people really know what they need. And that's the job of a partner seller. The partner seller is to diagnose the client's condition. And then that condition becomes both of ours in this partnership. And then the recommendation that I'm going to make as if I'm going to help you implement that before, during, and after. And you and I are going to be working together down the road. And over the years, I've worked with a lot of different salespeople in a lot of different industries. And I'll give you some examples. A lot of radio advertising salespeople. So many people are trained in how to sell radio and how to position their station versus other stations and other media in town. But so few are really trained in how to help the client execute once they buy these ads. A customer or a listener will call into the business, and if the business isn't good at collecting that name and treating people right and closing that deal, they're going to have a tough time getting an ROI off the ad schedule. But you realize how few salespeople in radio spend the time to care about what happens when a listener calls? Because in the seller's mind, I did my job. I sold you ads. What happens after that is up to you. And that's a vendor mindset. Where a partner mindset is to say, Mr. Client, I care what happens before, during, and after that customer walks in that store. That's the difference. How about sports sales? I work with, over the years, many sports teams at the professional and collegiate level. Vendor mindset says, these are our season tickets, these are our club seats, these are our suites, these are our ads, these are whatever, and we own a bunch of them, and then we sell them to people out there. And so they sell season tickets, let's say, or they sell a group program, and they really don't work with clients on how to maximize the pair of season tickets they just buy. They don't give many ideas or tips or strategies or ideas. They just say, here, we own them, now you own them. And a lot of times those people that buy those don't know what they should do with them. They don't know how to maximize them. They don't know how to make them work for their business. They don't know how to execute to fill a suite with the right type of prospects, these types of things. So a vendor basically just sells them those things with no owner's manual, no guidance, where a partner comes along and says, we will help you fill those seats with the right people, or we'll help you put the right message on that sign to make sure it works for you. That's a partner mindset. Consulting services, same thing. If you see yourself as needing to sell a series of days or hours, a series of consulting packages and seminars, or do you see yourself as, I don't sell training workshops, I sell improvement of people's lives, is really what I sell. And that's a huge difference in how you see it. And the partnership mindset can go down all the way into the transactional seller. I mean, you could have a partnership mindset when you're selling sandwiches, because a vendor would sit behind the counter and say, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And people would say, I want this, and you would make it. Versus a partner mindset would ask a few more questions. What are you hungry for? What do you feel like today? Even very simple things. Asking what experience people are after versus what do they want to buy. That is more that, what is it that you need in addition to what is it that you want? So the partner-vendor mindset, it goes so deep, and you really need to stop and think about all aspects of how you're selling. So as you go through my training or anybody else's training or coaching out there, be thinking about this core fundamental, and do we reflect a partner, that heart-shaped, necklace? And do we reflect that in what we say and how we act and how we treat people and how we respond and how we deal with issues? Or are we really vendors when all we really know is product knowledge and we know how to pitch, but we really don't care what happens to people after they buy from us? And then we have a vendor mindset, and then we're shocked that we don't get referrals. Why don't we get referrals? Why don't people refer us? Well, how many people refer a vending machine? They're everywhere. You're nothing special. You're nothing unique. If you want to be unique and special, and you want to wow people, you think about a partner mindset and start to carry yourself and act in that way. And this is age-old advice, and the reason it's age-old because it's so powerful, and it's so deep, and it's so ingrained in the human nature. It's in our DNA. So that's our message for this particular video. It's a core essential thing, and I'll hold it up for you. Partner versus vendor. I'd say 70 or 80% of people, unfortunately, are vendors. And only 20 or 30% are partners. If you want to have a good example of this, great sales movie, watch the movie Patch Adams. That movie with Robin Williams. He was the smartest guy in med school, but he approached medicine and being a doctor from a different way. He didn't feel that being a great doctor meant that he needed to know everything about medicine. Remember, Philip Seymour Hoffman was the other doctor, and he was so frustrated because he couldn't communicate with patients. And what Patch realized is that this partnership between a doctor and a patient is all about understanding the dreams. What were the things that were robbed? What was taken away from that patient? What is their pain? And what do they most want? And then the medicine was secondary. And it's the same thing in your world. Think about it. It's not about the candy in your machine. It's about what the patient, what the customer wants and needs. Partner versus vendor.